Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Preston M. Smith. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Living Artist Podcast. I'm Preston M. Smith, at PMS Artwork everywhere on internet land and socials. I want to thank you for landing on this podcast. Whether you're a professional artist, just getting started in the art world, a collector of art, or just consider yourself a creative person, this podcast has something for you. I like to think of it as a fun way to rant and talk to other creative people about living the life of an artist, surviving and getting ahead in the art world, and enjoying your life. But most importantly, not waiting until you're dead to make it happen. All right, let's get started.
I got a bad disease. From my brain is where I bleed. What's that? Soon. This is satire. This is satirical. Alright, let me speed it up. Maybe that'll help. Melon farmers. Baby, I'm very sweet. Holly really cares about my feet. If it's a really, I'm sure I'm a couple back, money, I'm a couple back for more. So you say, you don't count, I'm going to get a time. I'm going to say, but now we'll never get it. We are going out just to do. About it, so in Mexico. We now find back, he's so mine. I'm gonna keep it till the end of time. Suckers.
Well, we did warn you that 2026 would be the year of Mumford. Starting off with a random song for the new year, but kind of poignant as far as being in flux, trying to figure out what this year is going to look like, where I'm going to go this year, where we're all going to go this year. And I thought I would share some personal insights right now, as I hope you're thinking about what you're going to be doing this year. I'm also thinking about where I'm going to be, how I'm going to be, what I'm going to be doing this year. And I first wanted to start off with the podcast. I love doing this podcast, and it has brought me so much light and, laughter and fun and joy doing it over the years. It has been very difficult while I've been trying to essentially stay alive with this illness. And I think people sometimes get the wrong impression that he's doing the podcast, he's great. Well, it's been a really hard slog for me to try to get these out and to bring the energy and to do this in those brief moments where I have the time to record. So I'm happy I've been able to do it. It has been difficult. Sometimes I haven't been able to. I've had to do some mashups, or I've had to do a repost here and there while I've been doing a treatment or while I've been incapacitated. But I'm happy. I'm grateful that I've been able to do the podcast. I want to keep bringing it to you as much as I can. I am doing new treatments as I go, and hopefully something is going to click at some point and get me out of this complete and utter horror show of a nightmare that I'm in with my health. I have been able to, this last year, taking stock in 2025, I did sell about 35 paintings last year, which, kept me afloat. For me, my average is typically between 60 and 80 a year. I had one year where I sold over 100. So, not to the place where I need to be, but did keep me afloat. And like I've said on the podcast, having this art business and having this career that I've chosen to do actually kept me going through this sickness. If I had had a normal job, I would have lost my job years ago. I wouldn't have been able to work. I would have had, run out of benefits, and I would have had nothing to show for it. So luckily, I've been able to keep my art going and keep the podcast going, bring some revenue in. With the help of my wife, we have somehow been able to get these artworks out, shipped out, domestically and internationally over the past year. It's been a blur. There were some days I didn't think I was going to be able to do it at all. But, with her help, I was able to get these out. So I'm very grateful to have been able to do that. Having said all that, I do want to, just be honest. Though I want to keep bringing the podcast, if I can't get well in this next year, it's been 5 years of just, going down and then being so far buried by this disease that I haven't been able to get my head above water. So yes, we want to bring you the podcast in 2026. Going to keep going. And hopefully, we're going to find the answer here pretty soon, because it is kind of unsustainable to keep going at this pace that we're going right now. My goal is to keep going with the podcast in 2026. I'm grateful for all of you, sticking with me, sticking by me during this period. It has been very difficult, but I've tried to bring you really good content. I've tried to bring you good insights and, strategies still for being an artist and getting ahead in the art world. And, the realities of life that happens as an artist. I've tried to bring you all that stuff. And hopefully that has been something that has, resonated with you and brought some value, at least here and there, sporadically. So, going to keep going with the podcast in 2026, see how we do, see how my health progresses. I'm doing everything in my power to get well. Everything. I'm fighting this fight. I've always been a fighter, and I plan to keep fighting and, getting on top of this. But what else is there for 2026 for me? Well, that's kind of the main thing that I'm fighting for, because, without that, I have nothing. Without my health and without being able to create art or, leave the house or do anything or do the podcast even, there's really nothing else to do. But having said that, I do have goals, because you have to have goals and you do have to have a purpose when you're trying to A, get ahead in the art world, try to, have a career, but also B, to have something to shoot for, to give you purpose, to get over whatever it is you're, fighting. For me, it's this illness. For you, it might be something else. It might be financial constraint. It could be, a family issue. It could be a death in the family. It could be the day in, day out struggles that we all go through. But having that purpose, having that goal to shoot for does keep you going. It does give you something to focus on, to visualize your life moving towards that. Because if we're not doing that, we're just treading water, or even worse, we're kind of moving backwards, or we're regressing. So I have tried to keep some goals going forward. I have stuff. It's hard for me to really, iron these out, because it stresses my nervous system out. But I do have some goals for 2026 that I want to be able to do, health willing. And one of those is kind of exciting, that I'd like to, just tease a little bit, because why not? It's my podcast and I'll tease it if I want to. So I have some plans and some ideas to maybe even work with some of you in the future, people who I have worked with, or people who listen to the podcast or support the podcast, artists that I like and admire, and want to potentially work with them in somewhat of a pseudo representation capacity. And I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I think it would be very exciting. The stuff that I have planned would be, utilizing the podcast, the promotions on the podcast, getting people's names out there, and then also working with you in a representational capacity where we are selling work and bringing in revenue and bringing in sales. So that's something that I want to definitely focus on and think about, because it makes me excited to think about it. And it would be so much fun to work with some people that I really believe in and that I like to work with. People that are good people, people that are honest people, people that have great art, obviously, and people who have that drive and want to work and want to have a good attitude. Because, that's rare to have all that, to have that total package. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That might be something that I'm going to be fleshing out, obviously, health willing. If I get over this and I get some of my energy back and get some of my, ability to think back and be able to work back, I will be focusing in on some of this stuff. And I see it as being a very beneficial thing for everybody involved, bringing in some money and sales and exposure for everybody. That's something exciting to look out for this year, hopefully. Obviously, I'm going to be creating art. I have some great paintings in my head that I have not been able to do, that I'm looking forward to creating as well. Some large pieces, some small pieces, some assemblage pieces, getting back to some of my roots with some of that, but also taking it a step further with kind of breaking the plane in some of my artworks, and also going large, having some really colorful, abstract, emotional artworks. I also want to do, eventually, I have my, sights set on doing some sort of an experiential disease and chronic illness and what I've been going through, torture-themed art show at some point, a solo show, where I make it very experiential for the person. for the viewer watching and looking at this stuff. Interactive, very detailed and in depth, maybe even going back a tiny bit as like a retrospective of the origins of this in my art back when I was doing pop surrealist stuff, moving into, abstract, and then the falling apart in the process of the health and working through that using art as a working through process and putting that out there as a show, as like a cohesive show that, shines some light on, going through this as an artist, going through this as a human being, and also the state of illness and healthcare and gaslighting and all that stuff in the community. So I think that would be a really not fun, but a really unique and powerful show to do at some point, something that I would be very passionate about. Throwing around the idea of writing a book as well, if I can get to that stage. I don't know if it's going to be an audiobook. I don't know if it's going to be an ebook. I don't know if I'm going to try to go the publishing route. I don't know. But I think it would be cool to do it as an audiobook for people to digest, because I know people really like audiobooks now. It's more fun. I could add some of my humor into the mix and obviously my own vocal inflections and read it myself. So that would be really fun and interesting to do. It's something that I have my sights set on. And I even throwing around the idea of doing some sort of teaching course modules of the ABCs of getting your art career off the ground and getting into galleries, getting into online galleries, building your studio, building your body of work, building your story, building everything that goes into being an artist, really. I have the idea of doing something like that. It would be very affordable. People would just watch it. They would take it almost like a course where they would be watching these video tutorials. I don't know. Just some ideas that I'm throwing out there. Got to keep these things flowing because it gives me something to shoot for. So what are you doing? What have you got planned for 2026? What is on the horizon for you? And what is something that you are excited about? Something that gets you out of bed in the morning, something that gets your juices flowing, something that gives you something, an end goal to shoot for this year. What are those for you? Hopefully, listening to this has inspired you to come up with some out of the box type thinking for your own career, for strategizing. And it can be anything. The sky is the limit when it comes to our art. You can be talking about getting into video formats or doing live pop-ups or some sort of weird happening type event or studio visits. The sky's the limit. I would love to hear what you're thinking about, what's making you excited for 2026, what's getting your creative juices flowing. Look forward to hearing some of those ideas from some of you out there. I'm going to leave it at that for now. Don't want this to go too long, but just thought I'd check in at the beginning of the new year. I'm wishing, obviously, good health for my wife and I and turning the corner at some point. This has just been a real nightmare, but also hoping for you all out there to have the best year yet, to really have some things fall into place for you that springboards your career, springboards your art, and springboards your life in the right direction and in a direction that you're really dreaming about and hoping for. So gonna leave it at that for now, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a very healthy, happy, and safe new year. Looking forward to seeing you on the next episode, everybody. Take care of yourselves. All right. Bye-bye.
Yep, what's that? Yes, can I help you?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mumford?
Yeah?
You, sir, have been served. Ta-ta.
Shit, hell's this? Cease and desist from the Chili Peppers. Don't waste any time. Whatever, like you need the money. Cease and desist from giving you free advertising, that's for sure. Alright, I'm out of here. So, suckers, and happy 2026, belly fires.
This has been the Living Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I just want you to know that I appreciate you being here, and I'm grateful to be in your ears. Your art and creative life on this planet is meaningful, so thank you for sharing it with me. If you like this podcast, whatever platform you're listening to it on, please subscribe and share it with your friends. You can also leave me a positive review to show your support. This helps me to reach more people with the algorithmic magic and keep the show going strong. If you want to see more of what I do and check out the art that I create, you can visit my website at www.pmsartwork.com or follow me on social media everywhere at PMS Artwork. That's it for now. See you back here next time.